Um, so hopefully everybody has been feeling okay about their work this week, from your Sharpie techniques and Sharpie in action and your longest line yesterday. Today we are starting to talk about our final project, and we're going to be planning it out today, which means if you've had art in 6th grade, we planned out all of our work. So art is just like anything else. Like, let's talk about, like, if you're in a music class, you don't just go and perform on stage. You need to practice first. If you're in a sport or some sort of athletic, in science, you hypothesize. In language arts, you have a rough draft. Art is the same way. Artists plan out. They figure out what are they going to do before they jump in. Many artists have sketchbooks where that's all they do is like sketch and their ideas, and then they go for it. Picasso, they found napkins that he used to draw on with his ideas, and then they would find paintings that would correlate with those ideas. So it's something that since the beginning of time, artists have utilized, is to plan out their idea. There's lots of reasons why. Number one, sometimes you have an idea in your head, and once you start putting it on paper or on a canvas, it doesn't work out how you thought. So it's a really great process in order to work through that creative process and work through your ideas. And the cool thing about plans are, as you start going and then you have this idea planned out, you know how to do it, and you actually start your final, sometimes you change your mind. Sometimes you're like, oh, I really liked these colors, but I think I want to go with these colors. And then you can totally do that. So today in Schoology, again, reminder of attendance, please. You're going to find the expectations here. We do have a discussion today, and it's quick. It's literally, why do we plan? You're going to answer 2 questions, like what I'm looking for, and this is due today. It'll take you 3 minutes tops. But go in and tell me in your words why we plan. What's the point? We are going to talk about our actual project. So it's a geometric organic sketchbook cover project. In the project itself, you are going to find the rubric. The expectation is that you turn in your work at the end using the rubric, and you turn your work in correctly. Okay, it is attached on my screen at the bottom, but of course on your iPad, it's at the top. I would highly, highly suggest just going and putting that right in Notability today. You can already add onto it the 3 things you've completed this week. So I'll show you what that looks like, because I'm going to go into, sorry, my computer's slow today. Step 2 right here, your expectations for today of your plan. So you are going to use a new sheet of sketch paper. So that's pretty much what we do, because like I said, every single thing we do this trimester is in our sketchbook. And we are going to plan it out. So this is where we're moving with our project. We are creating a geometric design, and the whole point is to have like contrasting elements. So you are going to choose some sort of an object, whether it's an animal here like you see with a wolf, or these roses that this student created. And you are going to draw this object. A lot of times what students do is they will start with the outline, and then they complete it with those geometric or organic patterns inside. You're gonna start drawing that first. Then you're going to create your geometric or organic background around that object. So it's contrasting, it stands out. So you also want to think about your color choices with Sharpie. How are you going to make those stand out from each other? So you can see here with the roses, and then they did a very like optical illusion cube geometric background. This person chose simple triangles in their background. There are a ton of examples in this one. This is how you're going to turn it in. This is what this week's turn in will look like. And notice you have some questions to answer. So we're evolving with our turn in. So at the top, you have your Sharpie technique, your Sharpie in action, which remember it was anything you wanted to create, whether you followed along with those videos or you created your own. So it's Sharpie in action, yesterday's longest line, today's plan is going to go here, and your final project will go here. That's how this gets turned in. You don't just turn in a note, you don't just turn in a photo, like that is not how you turn it in. You turn it in on this document. Okay, so everything you complete this week goes on that document. You're going to answer, what are you most proud of that you created this week? And what is an area in which you can improve? We can always improve. I'm not one that believes in practice makes perfect. I believe in practice makes better. I'm always improving on my own, all sorts of things, life, projects, all sorts of things. Here's what the plans look like. Notice they are not complete works of art. That is not what I'm looking for, but I am looking for what are you going to do and what's it going to look like? How are you going to plan this out? Remember, you want to start with your object first, because if you do your background, then all of a sudden you have nowhere to put your object, and then they're meshing together. So when I say object because I'm not telling you what you have to do. You could do an animal. A lot of people did animals. You could do something with nature. You could do something like the rose, like if roses are nature. You can choose. But this is what the plan looks like, and this is required for full credit. Okay? So, and I don't care what direction it goes. You can choose how you want it to go. But this is on a sheet of paper in your sketchbook. Because once you figure it out, and even if today maybe you finish your plan more, like quicker than you think, you can start your final. How you start that is you start to draw this on the cover of your sketchbook. So the very front part of your folder is where this goes. You want to probably start drawing it with pencil first to get the whole layout. Then the entire cover should be complete with Sharpie. There should be no white left on your cover. There should be no pencil lines, which means like you've outlined everything so it pops. This is your player's another, so you can see here. And you can see how this changed. So this particular student, this looks like a wolf and this looks more like a lion. So they were kind of like, oh, I think I want to go more this route. They still stuck with the checkerboard pattern in the background. You do want to watch some of the coloring skills because you can see here they're kind of out of the lines, which would be kind of fall into that, like needs to work on craftsmanship. But notice the contrast. Remember, contrast is like, it stands out. If you ever work on photography apps, contrast is always one of your options when you're editing. Okay, so it's exposure, contrast, because it's like, how is it going to stand out? Here's another example. So here's the plan. This particular student even started working with their color scheme and their drawing, and here is their final. Notice even like the bubbles and how they stand out, and like the way that the tentacles stand out on the jellyfish. Is it jellyfish? Is that tentacles? I don't know if it's jelly. Are they called tentacles? Does anyone know? I should look that up. Here are some other examples of some finished work. I have a lot of examples in here of finished work from students.
I don't think they're called tentacles. I think they're called stingers.
Thanks, Brody. I think you're right too. Stingers. Should ask my husband. He got stung by one pretty bad. This one they did colored pencil here. I would have preferred Sharpie, only because aesthetically, for me personally, it kind of throws this whole thing off. But it's still beautifully drawn. Here are some more examples. And again, this is your full cover. Now, this particular person went more realistic. Cool. Okay. Totally awesome. She still has like the geometric stuff in the background. And I mean, honestly, people are shapes, right? It connects. And so, like I said, I'm really flexible and open to things. My goal is for you to enjoy what you're creating. My goal is for you to choose what you're creating that falls in alignment with what is part of who you are. Okay, so like being able to choose something that is important to you or that you love. So here are some more examples. So I just have a ton of different examples in here for you because I want you to, lots of foxes. I've had a lot of foxes in years past. That's kind of a popular one. A lot of deer. This mountain one's pretty cool. I had another student last try who did one along the lines of that. She completely changed the background, but it was really interesting. I do have some videos. I always offer resources. You never have to use mine. You can always find your own, but I want you to have access to resources because, again, I think I've talked about how I'm a mechanical drawer, so I need resources. Even to get my mind going or to get like my ideas generating, I need resources. So these are some helpful videos on just some cool like shapes, geometric, organic, kind of a mix, how to draw them, how to get them together so they look uniform. So those are some pretty cool how-to videos. So how you earn an A, I kind of show this. So in years past, we did a lot of like idea processing, but obviously with VLA, the weird year, we kind of have to pivot from that. But you got to have a plan. You got to have your plan complete to turn in. And look at the craftsmanship of this. Like, holy cow. Notice some of the shading in the Sharpie. Notice how like solid, like nice squares. It's just beautifully drawn. Look at this one, like this one I was floored. Look at that Sharpie technique. Like unreal. This is super cool. Very interesting the way they did it. The craftsmanship, the technique. Trust me, I don't grade you on cool. I grade you on technique, craftsmanship, like how is it created? Like notice like just the way that she diagonally drew this tree. This is very aesthetically pleasing to the eye. Not in my opinion, but in an artistic way. When we're taught how to grade things, like you're looking for aesthetics. I think most of you know what aesthetics means. It's kind of a popular word these days. If you do not, it's literally like how it like pleasing to the eye. Like what aesthetic do you like? Do you like pastels? Do you like ombre? It's aesthetically pleasing. Here are some others. This one was pretty funky, and it doesn't have a ton of contrast, but the way that it is done is just unbelievable. And I love the French braid. And she has contrast in different way, if that makes sense. Like notice how she chose to do this part of the hair in lighter colors, so it stands out. This is darker colors, so it stands out from the background. So she did this very systematically. Here's another one. So how do I earn a B or less? Where's your background? This is kind of crooked and over to the side. You can like hardly see the focal point. So focal point is another art word of like your main focus. What is your main focus? What do you want the viewer to really see? So it should be something that is large and in charge and in the center somehow. Clearly the cactus is the focal point. I love this cactus. It's amazing. But it's boring because there's nothing in the background. So aesthetically, it's like it looks incomplete. These students didn't really put any effort in here at all. There's no color, there's no Sharpie skill. It's very like, let me just get this done, and it's very obvious. So it's like, that's where we went with it, and you didn't fix anything or change anything. So just so you're like, how am I getting graded on things? So again, full completion, full like following expectations, like directions. I am extremely flexible when it comes to your artwork, again, because I want you to enjoy what you're creating, but there's still standards you have to hit and meet for each one. That's how the rhyme or reason comes about. So it's like, where like the expectations, did you hit those expectations? Did you use the craftsmanship skills? Did you outline your colored pencil or your pencil lines so they don't, so you have, stuff that pops? Is your focal point or your main objective, does it contrast? Does it pop out of your project versus the background? How are your Sharpie skills? Those are the things I'm looking at. And same with your sketches. It's not like, oh, they did it, check. You got to earn the points. So your job today is to plan this out. What are you going to do? Do you want to do an animal? Do you like, and notice that a lot of this is like the outline or the silhouette of the animal. So you don't have to dive into a lot of those like realistic aspects of the animal. So if you're like a little shy about like, ooh, I want to do this animal, but I'm not good at drawing a giraffe, why don't you look up a silhouette of a giraffe and it's just the outline. And then you just add different shapes inside of it. It's up to you. But this is your goal today, is the plan. Remember, this rubric is how you turn it in. It is in today's folder, Wednesday's folder, attached to the actual assignment, which you will also find this slideshow. Okay? Excuse me. This whole week's worth of work is due on Sunday evening. I still have a lot of missing work in the gradebook from last week. A lot of people have not turned in their, their Starburst unit. So that needs to be complete, please. And some of you I've sent emails to on how to fix things, and that hasn't been done yet. If you're confused, please let me know, or if you need more time, I just need to know how to help you. Okay, so that's what I'm here for. If you have any questions about your project, let me know. If you finish your plan and you're like, all right, like I'm ready to get this bad boy started, it just get started. Go straight on the cover of your sketchbook. So if you don't have questions, you can go and dive in and start creating, and I will be here if you need anything. I hope everybody has a great day.